Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Altar of the Champion, and today we have the Vampire Counts facing off against Grand Cathay. It's going to be myself with the Strigoi Vampire Lord facing off against Subutai, who's going to be rocking Zhao Ming, the Iron Dragon. Now, I don't really play Vampire Counts too often, but sometimes you have to understand your enemy, and one of the better ways to do that is to play them, because you feel the things that are strong, you feel the things that are a little bit weak, gives you an idea of a faction, and who knows, maybe I'll start playing Vampire Counts now that they have a bad win rate. So we got the Strigoi Vampire Lord here, and he's big pimpin'. This guy is a great fighter. He does have 80 melee attack, 55 melee defense, really solid base leadership, so crumbling him is very difficult. He's got some badass abilities too. Firstly, he can summon Crypt Ghouls and or Crypt Horrors with 2 charges. He can not passively, but he can heal himself with an activated ability here in the Ghoul King of Ashoron. And he has this big armor piercing buff as well, which has unlimited charges. So honestly, a very underrated character, and quite excited to see how he does. The rest of the army is going to be Graveguard Great Weapons with zombies and corpse guards and a couple White Kings. White Kings are nice just because they're good at grinding. Scab's Graith is very good against peasants and lightly armored units. And yeah, not much else to say. Corpse Guard's going to be buffing the boys, and we have some sneaky Vanguard here. So we do have the Feasters in the Dusk. I thought there might be a cannon, a fire rain rocket, something in the backfield that was going to get real crunk. So I figured having the Feasters ready to ambush on the back of my opponent's Vanguard zone here would be very, very nice. For Subutai's army, pretty classic Cathay. He does have the Jade Warriors with some halberd support in the back, backed up by Peasant Bowmen. And he is going to be rocking the Zhanggu War Drum. Very, very cool. So the War Drum's going to be saucing the boys up in the front line, putting their armor up over 100, really making me have a massive need for those Graveguard Great Weapons. Now, Zhao Ming is going to go Dragon form. As you guys know, he does have the Van Braces, which are extremely broken right now. They're supposed to only heal you for 32% of the HP, but apparently it triggers twice and heals them for 64%. So trying to kill him is basically impossible unless your opponent really, really misplays and does some things. So typically, I just ignore him, and if he happens to get damage fighting, it is what it is. Maybe you're going to be able to break his leadership, but yeah, he is an absolute nightmare to deal with. In the back, Halberds on the way in, Peasant Archers, but on the same note, before I finish that tangent, Zhao Ming is only really useful against factions with a lot of light armor. Against Vampire Counts, he's really good at clearing out zombies and skeletons and things like that. He typically doesn't really kill armor super well, because his bound spell in Dragon form, of course, is the Dragon Breath. Granted, you can rock Final Transmutation with him and do some cool stuff like that. I do think that the Grand Cathay playstyle of using magic intensity is actually pretty good against Vampire Counts, especially since they just have such a hard-on for blobbing, but thankfully, he didn't bring that. So Breath Attack goes down, and you can see it barely does any damage, and that was probably an overcasted one against those bad boys. The Strigoi Vampire Lord moving up. So it's not Ghoul King, it's the Vampire Lord. I think the Strigoi Vampire Lord is probably the better of the two. He does have those passive healings, which are quite good. And it looks like Zhao is going to be jumping down on the Graveguard here, and or the Corpse Guard. Going to be looking to do some battle. Side objectives going to go comfortably to us. We do have some Graveguard Great Weapons and the Corpse Guard there. And Feasters in the Dusk are going to be lurking in the shadows. Our first call-in is going to be Stearnsman. So Stearnsman going to be heading towards Objective 2 to try and wrestle that down. And now my first Corpse Guard getting pounded a little bit, which feels bad. But the 2 White Kings have gotten into combat here. They don't really have good AP, but they do have a bonus versus infantry. So I'm hoping they're going to be able to start bashing through these old Jade Warriors here. But man, oh man, the defensive stats on those guys is no joke. So Great Weapons do arrive, and this is where they're going to shine. They're just going to cut these Jade Warriors to pieces. Unfortunately for me, I do accidentally kind of blob, I believe, a couple Great Weapon units, which is a little bit janky, although no, it looks like that's just one there. Zombies moving this way, Graveguard Great Weapons engaging on this side with zombies in front, and the objective in the middle is going to be heavily contested, but now we are springing our trap. There's a couple of openings in the build, so we do get the Feasters in the Dusk making their way through. Graveguard Great Weapons going to pile in, and also some Black Knights are being called in. A unit that probably could use, they're really expensive at 1050. Those things are super pricey. And honestly, Jade Lancers will probably trade evenly, if not beat them in combat. So a bit of a tricksy hobbit. So we do call in some Crypt Ghouls. It's our summon from the Strigoi Vampire Lord, so hopefully we'll be able to put some pressure there. Nice Breath Attack there. Does a little bit of roasting damage against my Graveguard, but overall we're hanging in there. And the Graveguard Great Weapons are making their way through the Jade Warriors, so you can see they're losing pretty decisively. And here's the same thing. They basically do no damage back to the Graveguard, and it's a very one-sided fight. Stearnsmen heading over here. Unfortunately, the objective is owned by my opponent, but the Stearnsmen will bash these guys too. So we have a lot of decent little fights here. Jade Warriors, 8,000 HP. Stearnsmen, 8,000 or 9,800. So pretty massive difference in terms of the stats there. But the old golems, the Feasters in the Dusk, were able to outmaneuver the Jade Warriors, but now the dreaded Crowmen are coming in. So historically, Cathay would really struggle with this kind of a dive. As a matter of fact, they would get probably obliterated. But now that they have Crowmen, they can really do an excellent job. But Black Knights are very good against Crowmen. That's kind of the idea, because they have a bonus versus infantry. So if Crowmen try and stop them, they're going to be able to do some nasty work. Uh-oh, this could be a big bombardment. No, they actually land, which is good. So the Doggos and company, we are able to finish off ye old Peasant Archers, and the other Peasant Archers being chased by summons. So a lot of the shooting's offline right now, which is good, and it's given us a bit of a value lead, which is very rare for Vampire Counts to have that. value lead against Grand Cathay early in the game. So far, so good. Stern's been bumping and grinding against Jades, calling in some Cryptors to help out a little bit. And more Skeleton Spearmen going to be heading up to the middle right here. Black Knights still embroiled in combat, but a little bit tar-pitted by the Empress's Crowmen, rocking 40 armor with the Zhanggu War Drum, which I believe is still back here in the bushes somewhere. Did he move it up, or the radius is just that big? Wow, that is pretty serious. Yeah, it's giving armor to quite a few of these units, but now we go for the kill on it. The dreaded Vampire Count Ambush, and this is a cool tech with the Strigoi, is you're able to summon mass, which is quite useful for isolating targets, right? So we get in there, and we do get the Zhanggu War Drum, and these guys just want a chance to hit the drum. It's not like they hate it. They're just wouldn't it be funny if when they hit it, it made like a drum sound? That'd be hilarious. But overall, the Zhanggu War Drum's going to get killed here most likely. We have the Strigoi Lord as well as the Cryptors and the 2 White Kings just beating on this thing. So that's pretty good value. Those things aren't cheap. So more skeletons on the way up. Unfortunately, I am losing the capture weight here a little bit as some Cathay units do advance and make it up. These halberds engage with the Cryptors, but these again are just summons. You don't really care if they take too much damage. The main thing is taking down this drum. The leadership and the various buffs it gives to the Cathay troopers on the objective is really devastating. So those need to go. Side point looking good, just Corpse Cart and zombies, and the Grave Guard did pretty well in the backfield, cutting through the halberds as well as several other infantry units, and our backfield pressure has more or less been stopped now. Subutai was able to stabilize it with a combination of Crowmen and also Jade Lancers coming in. The Black Knights, unfortunately, were not able to, they weren't able to live. They weren't long for this world. So we need to find a way to get the middle objective back. Our Graveguard Grey opens, hopefully we'll keep trading well, and our little Strigoi Vampire Lord with the Claws of Morcane rocking 500 weapon strength. Not amazing. A lot of that's armor piercing, so pretty excellent at cutting through Jade Warrior Halberds. Another nice breath attack going down there for Grand Cathay. As the Skeleton Spears move up on the point, Skeleton Warriors trying to hustle, and the side one was looking okay for us until a lot of reinforcements came in. So Stern's been getting attacked by the Empress's Crowmen, as well as Jade Lancers and Spears. So a fair amount of units, which will be maybe able to overwhelm us, and also another Jade Warrior unit coming in. So the amount of gold they have here. So Stern's been plus Cryptors are like 1900 gold, give or take. And for Grand Cathay here, let's see, it's going to be 800, another 16. So yeah, almost like 2400 gold coming in. So a lot of elements being allocated over here to objective number 2. Trying to wrestle that middle objective back, pulling the Corpse Cart. One of my Corpse Carts did go down. It lasted a while. You know, I wasn't unhappy with it. And overall, our Skeleton Warriors and Zombies trying to fight to the best of their abilities, but we need more Invocations. I felt like I was a little bit weak on the Winds of Magic this game. Here we get Crowmen shutting down the dogs, so Crowmen are so excellent at shutting down these various skirmisher units because they dominate Fellbats and they really dominate the different Hound units, right? Dire Pack might be able to fight back against them, but we pull the Dire Pack back, trying to micro them away, get the Cryptors into support, and then we'll be happy to take that fight. So value trading, we're behind by a little bit, but with the healing, we've cast a couple invos. I would say the game is pretty close. Granted, a lot of the damage and value we do have is unfortunately against Zhao Ming, who keeps attacking my characters. And we've been able to swing back, but you know, he could just heal through all of that, basically healing cap himself, which feels pretty darn bad. Crowmen versus Dire Pack, but the Dire Pack is going to be supported by a Corpse Cart, so their stats are going to be quite a bit better, 36-31 all of a sudden. And yeah, now the Crowmen are taking a little bit more damage than they expected as the Cryptors do descend from the bushes here, and it looks like the Crowmen, man, they were able to escape really, really smooth. They just like straight up took off there. I guess a handful of them are still stuck on the ground, so we'll probably be able to get it. Scab Scraith going down from the White King, very, very good value. Tickles the pickle of a lot of these peasants, and taking a look, we have the Children of the Night doing battle with the Dragon Emperor's Chosen. Glorious stuff here at the Altar of the Champion, which is a really, really beautiful map. This one's awesome. A couple bows coming in the distance, and over towards objective number 2. It looks like that fight was not won. Sternsman did good, man. They fought, you know, tooth and nail there against just overwhelming numbers, but only got 600 value at the end of the day, and do get chipped down. Cathay able to overwhelm that point with their new Crowmen and very, very nice mobility as well. Now looking over towards objective 1, however, the old Count Chocula's, the old Vampire Counts, looks like they might have a decent opportunity to get this point. The Vampire Lord's still clawing away, using his claws to wear down these. Probably about 800 value, give or take. Yeah, about 900 value, which isn't bad, and he's still very healthy. On the side point, the Jade Lancers do move in, and yeah, Black Knights should win that fight. We do have zombies in there providing a little bit of support, spears and more zombies coming in, but Peasant Horsemen might be able to surround me and just tank my leadership, which would be really, really unfortunate. And now he's got Jade Lancers also moving, so potentially I'm going to lose this position because I'm going to get surrounded. Leadership will start to crumble most likely, and the Skeleton Spears and the zombies aren't going to get there quick enough to buffer that. Had they gotten there a little bit sooner, maybe. But we do get the middle point, which felt good. So I felt like I was in this game. And, you know, it felt like historically when I've seen this one casted, that is a tricky matchup for the Vampire Counts with Crowmen. Now on the table, you know, shutting down the range tools becomes a bit of a problem. But Zhao Ming has really been an absolute menace this game. He's probably just been cooking so many of my infantry units. Currently at about 1,500 value, so nothing insane. He costs 2,100, I think, with his ideal kit, about 2,000. So he hasn't quite paid for himself quite yet. Nice Jade Lancer charge going to be coming in the back, and big collapse on the middle as I call in more zombies. My actual unit quality here starting to diminish. I do have, of course, Skeleton Spearmen and the White Kings here and the Strigoi Lord, but you know, I'm just getting pressured on all these side points, and I can't really afford to lose these points, right? And I'm going to. These Black Knights did get in. They got about 700 value, but they were swarmed really heavily. A couple Skeleton Spearmen won't do badly. And I mixed in some Cairn Wraiths in the build. Cairn Wraiths aren't bad for fast capture weight and terror on the Vampire Count roster, but they are very vulnerable to Zhao Ming. Zhao Ming, with his magic attacks and his magic breath attack, can obliterate them. So you gotta just like make sure to avoid him when you're going to be using those bad boys. The middle objective is still held by us, but probably not for much longer. Cathay does have a nasty blob here, and I honestly don't have a lot of killing power. Corpse Guard still buffing up what chaff units I have, but there's a couple Cathay missile units which seem very healthy here. We do have the Peasant Archers here and the Peasant Archers here, both of whom are blasting into the Crypt Horrors. And man, oh man, it's getting a little bit scary. So zombies waddling up, calling in more doggos. Direwolves see an opportunity to maybe get on these Peasant Archers depending on where the Crowmen decide to move. And on the side point, the grind is going to go okay for us here. Zombies and Cairn Wraiths getting terror routes here, so you can see the peasants are terror routed. We do also have spears and the remnants of the Black Knights who fought to the bitter end. You know, doing okay actually, ending up at 900 value despite a bit of a bad fight. But the spears will be able to chew through these Lancers most likely just in their current state. So I really need to get that side objective back. Unfortunately, Zhao Ming detaches from the middle. He comes over here and goes after the Cairn Wraiths. So that's really not good for me. They're going to crumble quickly. So the game plan in my head was to get the Cairn Wraiths, run away, and just kite Zhao Ming into the Shadow Realm and hope for the best here. So he's chasing over towards objective number 2. We do see it looking, 1 here in the middle. We see it starting to flip for the Vampire Count. So the old Crypt Horrors, the White Kings, and what's left of my troopers here doing good. Cathay on a bit of a mass retreat here, but those damn bows are really, really doing an excellent job against my Crypt Horrors. So that is not fun. Direwolves pulling back, trying to escape the dreaded Crowmen. I feel like it's a game of cat and mouse. And it looks like they have similar HP, but the stat lines are pretty nuts on Crowmen. Yeah, you can see in with the Harmony and what is this ability here? Eye of the Empress. Ah, visibility range. That's cool. So they can like spot scary things in the bushes. So the Cairn Wraiths running away. I pretty much had to yield this objective. Full health Jade Warriors coming in. I don't have any armor piercing here. All my stopping power is in the middle. So the new game plan is going to consolidate our forces and try and move over towards objective number 2 here. So what we do is we call in some sneakies. Graveguard Grey opens, but the Golems are going to be coming in soon, the Feasters in the Dusk. And I'm going to make a play for objective 2 because we're still very much in a situation where we can win on 2 points. So that's how we're going to be playing. Zombies getting run down by Jade Lancers. Unfortunately, doesn't feel great, but the Cairn Wraiths moving in will provide me a little bit of capture weight. Over here, Zhao Ming, the Iron Dragon, leading to the crumbling of these Skeleton Spears, and those breath attacks are really, really good against the light armor. Definitely cooking them. And fire, of course, isn't bad against Vampire Counts either. From healing, it does mitigate the effectiveness of healing. So, Feasters in the Dust creeping over. Doggos were able to get on top of some archers here, so Peasant Archers are partially compromised. I can't believe we have the capture weight here. I felt like I had like nothing left. Crypt Horrors and Skeleton Spears do get a big overcasted invo, trying to keep them fighting for as long as possible. Cairn Wraiths might be able to stabilize the point, and also the Graveguard Grey opens. Those bad boys are going to move up there, and boom, we do get the capture weight back. And the Graveguard Grey opens are like the big problem for Grand Cathay here. They were the big carry for me earlier in the game, but you notice the momentum of the game started to shift as they diminished a little bit, and I did run out of those bad boys, right? Direwolves chewing on these peasants, and on the backside, we do see objective number 2 here. Going to be sneakily taken by our Feasters in the Dusk. So we are going to start getting that. And we have some reinforcements as well. We have Dire Pack that we can call in. So if he comes in with some like cheap peasants or like horsemen to try and stop me here, I can get the Dire Pack in, which you can see. And now we're going to get the double cap. So we just really, really need to kind of hold on to those points if we can. Zhao Ming does land, and with that healing kind of in the back pocket, man, it's so stressful. Because like normally I would, if a big monster were near me like this, I would go for the kill. I'd be like, hell yeah, dude, let's do it. But, and yeah, in this case, he's basically just a raid boss. That's like, no thank you, I don't want any piece of that. So pulling back with the Feasters in the Dusk, I really need to get this objective. With Subutai moving over some Jade Warriors and some Peasant Archers, which are going to be very good against us here. Crypticals have 10 armor and no missile mitigation whatsoever. So that sucks pretty bad, but we are going to get a winning fight against these Jade Lancers. They're going to get wrecked pretty bad. They're going to get poisoned, and the Dire Pack's going to swarm in there, and many of those Jade Lancers are going to be dragged down, and they'll be broken in a matter of seconds. Crypticals hit hard. They don't have the best AP, but almost 50 weapon strength with 51 melee attack. They're no joke, but very, very squishy. Very squishy. Skeleton Warriors and Zombies over there. We do manage to hold on to the middle point, so we're fighting really, really hard for this one. Zhao Ming, the Iron Dragon, I have no idea where he went. He's back up in the sky, and he's just waiting to get that like full heal. But this was unfortunate, guys. We didn't get the objective. It was literally a sliver away, and then his Jade Warriors arrived. That felt so bad. I was like, oh, Anakin, I'm too weak. So he's basically still getting points against me. That was pretty much our last chance at having an opportunity here. And if we can flip this, maybe you can see it's like going, but just look, it's so close. Oh, come on, baby, give it to us. And Grand Cathay comes down, and are we going to get it? And it looks like the objective is not going to flip. What the hell is this? It doesn't go, and that felt so bad because we were both really light on capture weight here, so that could have been given us a little bit of time. But now back towards the middle. Of course, it's going well. Our Cairn Racer being focus fired, taking a lot of damage. The Corpse Guard, of course, providing a little bit of healing, which isn't bad at all. This is the Unholy Lodestone, so it does have the passive healing. It's very weak healing, but it's not insignificant. You know, it can add up over the course of a long game. Zombies do arrive to the point, but I suppose Grand Cathay would have captured this one back pretty quickly anyways. So what we do is we make a play for the other side, going for a Desperation Ninja play. But in order for this to really work, we needed to kind of get that point to have the points kind of get a little bit closer, because he can win on a single cap right now. So very, very scary. Cairn Wraiths get in, and they will tear out these peasants pretty quickly. Dire Pack going to move in, or not Dire Pack, but regular Dire Wolves going to be nibbling on those peasants, and they do get the good push there. A couple zombies moving in. Cairn Wraiths, of course, we have full cap weight. Middle objective, very solidly under our control. The Graveguard Great Weapons who arrived are just doing the work of the night at 1500 value, butchering pretty much all the Cathay infantry. Cathay infantry can't really stand up to vampire counts like Graveguard unless they have the support, right? But the damn Crowmen, fast, furious, really good rapid response unit. Going to be trying to get a terror route here on these peasant long spearmen, and the zombies will provide 2 capture weight apiece. So the terror route's going to go down almost immediately on these peasant spearmen, being rear charged by the Cairn Wraith. So you can see the utility of the Cairn Wraith, right? Like being able to kind of sneak around, terror route, and snake an objective. They'll trade pretty well into heavy cav and sustained combat too, but now the birds do end up landing. But they land, I believe, no, those are Empress's Crowmen. Yeah, those things are just nasty. Absolutely. Hands down the best unit on the roster. They're just terrifying. Over towards objective 1, we still have that one, but ladies and gentlemen, we pretty much run out of time. We've had our little gambits here back and forth, and overall, it was a really good game. You know, vampire counts were pretty fun. I'm trying to think what I could have done a little bit differently. Maybe just more back pressure in the beginning. Like I had 2 or 3 units dive back there, but it was hard. Part of me thinks like a Dragon Lord might be smart too. Just like a big, scary Blood Dragon Lord or something that could really bully Zhao Ming. Because like a Blood Dragon Lord could kick his butt twice over. And that could be pretty big. And the breath attacks could be really nice against like the Jade formation. So I don't know. Yeah, your build would be a little bit smaller in the beginning. Like the White Kings both did well at about 1200 value. So no complaints there. And yeah, it was fun. So if you guys want to see more vampire counts, let me know. They're kind of on the weaker end of the spectrum right now, but it's okay. They're going to be back, I think, when people pick them up. And once we get some proper balancing for some of these like really OP factions, I think they can make a return. All right, guys. GG, well played to my opponent, Zhao Ming, 2200. And looking around, the Crowmen, very nasty, 13-14. Although they came out twice, so I suppose they didn't pay for themselves too much. But yeah, that's it. Take care of yourselves, guys. We'll see you on the other side. And that is it for tonight.